Good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Poore, and I'm the Vice President for Infiniti here in the Americas.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Shiro Nakamura. I am Senior Vice President, the Chief Creative Officer for Infiniti.
And today we're coming to you live from the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance in California. And this is our first ever live series for Infiniti Live. And we hope to carry these on in the future, but we felt it was a really nice idea to bring you out here to the Concours d'Elegance. You can see behind us one of the cars we introduced here, the new Infiniti Etherea, which is a concept. And we'll talk to you a little bit about that in a second. But of course, what we'd like to do is answer just any questions you might have. And we know they're already streaming in, and I have some in front of here. So with that, I think we're just going to get into it and take your questions and hopefully have a little bit of fun here. So, Shiro-san, the first question actually came in from Meredith. Right. And she's asking, can you tell me about the design inspiration behind the Etherea?
Oh, okay. You know, the Etherea is a concept car we just created, and this is a new type of small luxury car. So for us, is the creating the new type, new segment, which is compact yet but very roomy, and at the same time is very sexy design and performance oriented. Every single Infiniti have very performance-oriented, very seductive design. As you can see, particularly for front end, we have we called with double arch grille, and particularly I want to emphasize on the headlamps. The headlamp is very iconic signature. You can see almost the eye of the eagle or whatever. We want to put a very strong personality on the headlamp.
When those headlamps light up, Shiro, would they? What happens on the? It almost looks like they have an eyebrow on them.
Yeah, its eyebrow is a daylight running lamp. Always it's illuminated, and the bottom is almost how do you call the eye?
Well, the whole eye itself,
whole eye,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a real sort of. Its car is almost like the animal.
Yeah.
It's really we are inspired from the animals
to bring it alive.
Yeah, bring it alive. Or human eyes, very intense, strong confidence. You can feel from the headlamps.
Okay,
and
great.
You go to the side, we have a body side DLO, we call the crescent cut DLO, daylight opening light. That is very close to probably you guys know the Essence concept, which we brought last year.
Correct.
Yeah, and that is a very showing the future direction of the Infiniti, the front end, headlamps, and the body side crescent. I think this is in line, very much in line with the Infiniti Essence concept.
Yeah, and we one of the things we introduced here at Pebble Beach is the JX, all new JX, which also took a lot of the design language from the Essence. And actually, I have one of the questions here is about the JX. Actually, the first question that came up, because everybody asks, is what is the price of the JX? Well, we're not going to release pricing quite yet. We will release the prices for the JX at the Los Angeles Motor Show, which is going to be in November. But to give you kind of an idea of where this will be priced, the JX will be priced right in the heart of the luxury three-row crossover market. So if you think about Acura MDX, that range, that's kind of the place where the JX will be priced. Tremendous value for tremendous luxurious product. So I'm going to get to the next question. This one came in from Rafael, and he's asking, my question is, what's next for the G series? How is Infiniti going to make these cars even better? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Shiro.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I just almost finished the G design for the next generation,
I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, I think it's we want the even sportier than today. But D has been the sporty performance sedan, but we want it even more in some way. Proportion is sportier,
right?
More expressive, and both exterior and interior. And the interior we want to make it more sort of high tech, sporty feeling. I think it's actually. This is going to be a third generation of this sedan. And after third generation, I think it's this coming one is very, very in line with performance, inspired performance Infiniti brand image, I think.
Sure. Is there anything that, because another question just came up about this, which is saying, is there anything that you can see in this Etherea that might hint at where that design might go?
Over New Z?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, but particularly I'm talking at the front end. very intense, very strong eye. This will be carried over to New G, and very strong. Even G could be even stronger than this.
So really bringing it alive.
Yeah, because this is more compact and roomy oriented. Roominess is also another characteristic, but
right.
we wanted to make next G. We still maintain the roomy interior, but overall proportion is much more, let's say, lean and sporty.
Got it, got it. Well, we have another question here now from Zach, and Zach is asking, does Infiniti have any future plans for the Infiniti Performance line, or what we call IPL? He says here that I think most people would agree the IPL would be great in other vehicles. So let me tell you a little bit about IPL. We launched the Infiniti Performance line with our coupe this time last year at the Concours d'Elegance. It's done very well in the marketplace, provides more horsepower, a lot more styling on the exterior, enhancements on the interior, and it's absolutely the best driving Infiniti we've ever made. And today at the Concours d'Elegance, we just announced that we'll extend that IPL line to the convertible. So we'll start to sell the IPL convertible starting next summer. Beyond that, we'll see. We're still looking at other options for IPL, but we're very happy with where it's going. So definitely look for more IPLs in the future, and definitely look for a convertible next summer. Okay. There's a question here from Ruben, and he's asking, will Infiniti implement alternative powertrains, gasoline direct injection delivery to this engine, just as they did with the 5.6 liter V8? So I guess I can try to answer this a bit. Yes. Ruben, we're going to be looking at all kinds of alternative powertrains. So as an example, we just launched a hybrid M within the last year. And our hybrid's a little bit different than our competitors, because when we do an alternative powertrain, we want to make sure it stays true to the spirit of Infiniti, which is about inspired performance and performance. So our hybrid engine is more a high performance hybrid. It provides up to 32 miles per gallon, but at the same time it gets 360 horsepower. So it's a very spirited drive, which also gives you fuel economy. And there's literally no other engine that will give you that combination in America. So hybrid is absolutely technology we can look at. But beyond that, we've also announced that we will launch an EV. So the Infiniti EV is in our future, and that'll be full electric. So we'll have everything from electric to hybrid. We have diesel engines available in Europe. There's possibilities for those in other countries around the world as well. So we're looking at all potential powertrains that we could bring out. Sure, there's another question here that asks about, what was sort of the first vehicle that you ever fell in love with? This is coming from Nathan, and I think it's an interesting question. And why?
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I am a car designer, but before I became a car designer, I am car lover. When I was a kid, actually I was born in 1950, so which means that to me, 1960s car is my, let's say, most gave me an influence. For example, like Mustang, first Mustang, when I was it's a 12 or something. So the first Mustang and the Corvette Stingray from the US. At that time, I really liked the American, like Corvette Stingray and the Camaro. And at the same time, I liked lots of Italians, like a Ferrari 275 GT or 250 GT, a little bit older. So to me, the 275 GT, those cars, and Alfa Romeo, Giulia GTA or something like this. It's to me, it's mid-60 cars gave me a lot of influence, and actually I still think 1960s cars in the Americans and the Italians is still, to me, it's a long history of car design history, still golden time. I think you will see it tomorrow here or everywhere in this area. It's
important because tomorrow at the here at the Concours, you'll see, I mean, just the range of history for the automotive history. So it's going to be great. There's another question that came in from RJ, or I don't know if that's RJ or RI, and he's asking, will you ever produce the Essence? Well, nothing yet to talk about in terms of production on the Essence, but what the Essence has done for us as a concept is truly make concrete what the essence of our future vehicles will be. So the Essence featured a hybrid gasoline engine. It's supercharged as well. You can see that in our future, and you actually see that today in our M Hybrid. All the design elements, I think, Shiro, that you talked about, the crescent cut, the front end, even the cockpit, maybe is a little bit more we can see, yeah?
Yeah, I think Essence is very important to showing the Infiniti design language for the future. Therefore, we named it Essence, Essence of Infiniti Design. It contained every essence of Infiniti design we will introduce coming several years. So it's a very, even though we may not produce the Essence, but for us, the presence of Essence is so important.
So as we look to Essence, it's a place that if you want to see where our future is, look today at the Essence, and that's where it's going. Here's a note from Phil, and I'm sorry, Phil, if I don't get your last name right. It's Zubinski, I believe. And he says here that he just hit 228,000 miles on his FX and wanted to thank you for continuing to build great high-quality performance vehicles. And Phil, we thank you for that comment. And you know, the FX is really, there's two crossovers that we've introduced here at Pebble Beach. One is a freshened FX, so you can see that online today. The 2012 FX, we've put a new front end on, new wheels, new instrument gauge inside. And it takes what was a bold design, and I think it makes it really turns it up a notch. But you can absolutely be assured, Phil, that we're going to continue to have very strong performance vehicles in our lineup. And really, the FX competes more with the Porsche Cayenne than anything else. But at the other extreme, within this market, we did introduce the JX here. And the JX is really our entryway into the family vehicles in terms of luxury crossovers. And this is a huge, huge market that we haven't been in before. The JX is going to provide things that really nobody's out there doing today. So what we see in this market is, for example, the bigger competitors are Acura MDX and the Lexus RX. And you know, frankly, they're kind of vanilla in their flavor. I mean, they're really just different flavors of vanilla, we think. And they become synonymous with kind of ho-hum. So what we want to do is basically shake this market up a bit, and I think you're going to see that in the JX. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the design of the JX.
Yeah, the JX is, you know, our first three-row, very roomy, functional Infiniti, right? QX is big, but much more accessible, right, much more friendly interior, and at the same time, we don't want to lose any sexy design, exterior, and sexy and still feel the performance. We don't want to create three-row because of the three-row. The luminous is first priority, exterior is second priority. No, we have to put a very strong priority for exterior as well. Otherwise, we cannot put Infiniti badge on it. Right?
I like, and Shiro, you mentioned words like sexy to describe our designs. I think that really does help to describe what Infiniti is all about. And you know, I do like to say again, if I look at what's out there in the market today, does America really need any more beige RXs running around the road from Lexus? We think there's an alternative here. The other alternative that you're going to find with the JX is that we're taking what people love about the cars that are out there today, and we're turning up a notch. So for example, the JX is going to have class-leading interior room. But the other thing we've done is put some innovations in it. So for example, when you slide the second row forward, a lot of time, well today you have to take the child seat out in order to reach that third row. With JX you'll be able to leave that child seat in. Another neat feature that it has is the backup collision prevention system. So today if you're backing up a car and something is approaching you, well, if you don't see it, you're going to hit it. But with JX we've actually put a system in where if another car is approaching and it detects it, the JX will automatically stop. Now, that's a car and you can imagine the great benefit, but what if there was a child running back there, as an example? I mean,
yeah,
it's got
what we call the very friendly innovation for
protect property, protect people, etc. So really some interesting things in there. Well, Tyler is asking here, does Infiniti produce motorcycles, and if not, will they? No plans, Tyler, for motorcycles?
No.
Nothing, right? Okay.
Not at all.
You've heard it live. We're no motorcycles in our future. We have another question here. saying, Shiro, could you
Yes.
please tell us what is your favorite and most proud car that you've ever designed?
This is
Is that a tough question?
I'm asked quite often this question, but this is very tough to answer. You know, every time, you know, like all cars, I love it. Like all my, you know, as you have a kid.
They're your
Everybody
babies,
has a
right?
kid.
Yeah, yeah.
It's how to say this is my, you know, most favorite kids or baby. But if I have to say for Infiniti, FX is a sort of breaking the mold. The 10 years ago, Infiniti was not very clear as a characteristic. But not this one. The previous FX brought a new characteristic to Infiniti. Very, you know, innovative, proportioned, new in the segment, and very seductive but strong, powerful design. So I think it's not at the best or not. This is, to me, it's quite memorable project,
Right.
because we wanted to create a totally unique for Infiniti. So that has succeeded, and the second one even better. And now we are designing the third one.
I've seen some quotes from you, Shiro, where you talk about, and especially when you talked about the FX, that we could be very brave in design because we don't follow anybody else. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think we are as a luxury segment, we are not established, right? And comparing with other like German makes. So we are almost a challenger. And we can do much unique and innovative new thing other than them. And for example, FX, when we introduced FX, this kind of car, that segment didn't exist. Now you see a lot of similar to this.
Right.
We have created a new category, which is FX. So I think that is same things to this.
Right, this is
This
completely
is creating
different.
the new category. This is advantage of us because we are challenging the status quo, right? That is, I think, the braveness of design, and that is, to me, the core heart of Infiniti.
The heart of what we're about. Well, there's
maybe soul of Infiniti.
there's somebody, Shamil has said, yes, I agree. And I am proud to have a 2006 FX35, such an appealing and ground-breaking vehicle. So somebody's agreeing with you today, right now. The next question we have here is, will Infiniti offer the EX, FX, QX, and the JX in the future, or would some of these potentially go away? By the way, the JX looks fantastic. Thank you, Don. So let me take this on a bit. We think there's room for all of these products moving forward. The QX plays in a very different place, Don, than the rest of the segment. It's a 3-row body on frame. It draws a very different type of customer at one end. And then the JX also provides 3-row, but in a different place in the marketplace. So whereas the QX would appeal more to people who have to tow, who have even bigger space requirements, the JX is going to be for customers and who don't need to tow as much, who have a little bit less space requirements, but there's room for both of them. In terms of the FX, well, the FX really is truly a performance vehicle. It's right there with Porsche Cayenne, and that's a different part of the market. In fact, the power to weight ratio of the FX is actually better than a Cayenne. It pulls better. And then the EX is really more of a personal type of luxury crossover. This is not a vehicle for large families, but for the right person, it's the perfect size. So there's room, we think, for all of these in our lineup moving forward. There's another one here that's asked, will we see G line with hybrid versions in the near future? The answer is potentially, and we're definitely looking at potentially. Yes. I think there's potential as we see what happens with the M hybrid and the success we're having with that. There's opportunity, I think, also for other hybrids. Right. Would you like to?
No, I think you have already said that.
Okay, we're right on. Okay. There's a question here from Miguel, and I think you kind of answered, but maybe you can hit a little more. He's asking for Mr. Nakamura.
Yes.
How do you see the Infiniti design evolving in the very near future?
Well, for me, the first phase is starting with previous G. It's around 2001 or 2, right? And then we start joined with first generation of FX and G Coupe and so on. And the second wave started with new effects. It's much more flowing, more seductive design, even enhancing. And third wave just starting now with like this is coming. And also we have EV Infiniti Mĩ is coming.
Right, yeah.
That is also even more, let's say, has a more flow and more seductive and even more emotional and sportier. And the G is coming, as I already told. The G is becoming more sporty and more even with a confidence. I think it's to me the 5 years evolution. First 5 years, second 5 years. Now we are going to 2011, 12. And now, to me, this is for me the third step of evolution.
Well, I love how, and again, you mentioned it. You almost can't turn these lights on, but I think there's some videos of the Etheria online. It really brings the car to life. It's got a soul. It's almost a being. You called it almost an animal instinct in it.
Has blood.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'll be a thing where you get in your car and it's just alive. So I've seen where the new G's going, and for sure it's there as well. So Ken is asking us here, how close is the JX concept to the production version?
Exterior wise, 97%.
97%. Okay.
That is 3%.
I'll leave it at that. About 3% difference that you're going to see. So basically, we're right on with the JX in terms of the design, and it's very, very true to what you'll see in Los Angeles. But if you stand by in Los Angeles, we'll show you that full vehicle as well. Here's from Stefan, or Steven. I'm not sure how he pronounces his name, but he's asking, is Infiniti exploring the compact luxury market and to trying to compete against the BMW 1 Series? And maybe, Shiro, this is our car, right?
Yeah,
that we can do that with.
Yeah. Sorry, this is not exactly, but the concept of this car is competing with the compact luxury segment.
Right.
Yep.
So the answer, Stefan, is that absolutely. And you can look to the Etheria for an idea of how that may come about. The Meredith is asking, what can you tell us about the future of Infiniti telematics? You mentioned it yesterday in the JX. Is there other advancements that we can look for in the future? So let me try to take this on a bit on the telematics, if that's all right. The on telematics, our future in telematics is really about making our customers' lives, our drivers' lives, easier to manage, frankly. And let me give you some examples of what is in the future. So on the JX, I mean, can you imagine if you could take your, and we all walk around with this. This happens to be mine, one of these, and you could take your calendar and sync it to your car, and then your car would automatically recognize where your appointments are, and then take your navigation system and guide you to them. Well, that's the future where we're going, and that's what will be available in the Infiniti JX and in other products moving forward. But beyond that, we have what's called the Infiniti Personal Assistant, and it's we just launched it. If you think about like an American Express Black Card, which not a lot of us have, but it's just, with the Black Card you get a concierge service where 24 hours a day somebody can help you with anything. So let's say you leave a shirt at a hotel, or you want help with reservations to a dinner, or you want to know, hey, I'm going to be in a city, I'd like to take a yoga class. Well, your personal assistant, I will say that even I had some homework help that I needed with my daughter, and I called them for help with her as well, and they'll help you look it up. But the personal assistant will be able to help you through all these kinds of things. But beyond that, let's say you need to get to a certain place. Personal assistant will be able to take the direction for where you're going, send it to your car, automatically upload it into your navigation system, and you're on your way. It's really seamless kind of technology, so very, very interesting. I have a question here from Miguel, who's asking, from a color and materials perspective, it says Infinitis are unmistakably Japanese in some detailing and patterning.
Thank you.
Will the next Infinitis continue this trend, Shiro?
Yes, yes. He pointed out a very, very exact point. We want to pay very, very strong attention to materials and the colors, particularly interior. You can see the finishes. We don't want to use just the traditional finishes. we want to bring, inspired by, as he said, Japanese tradition, but we don't bring very traditional way. We are inspired by the Japanese old craftsmanship. We translate into the much modern and new technology. And you can see coming much more you will see in the new product. And one example is we have, people cannot see that the Infiniti performance-like convertible concept. Right. It has got a very nice red, you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That is inspired by the traditional warriors' clothes, and we translated it in much modern and very attractive design. I think that we would like to continue to exploring that aspect.
Yeah, you see it sometimes in Shiro-san in the aluminum, for example, that's in our cars. Some of the trims and things as well.
We call the first washi is Japanese paper finish.
Right.
The first introduced for generation.
So you take a material and then you change the design of it to make sure that it's true to what we are as a brand.
Right.
But it's still this modern material.
Exactly.
Okay. Sure, there's another question here for you also, and it says, can you please provide an example of something that inspires your design? What are some other things that help?
Inspiration, where it comes from? I think this is not easy question, because me and every designer inspires many things. Sometimes old cars. That's why one of the reasons I'm here. Even the very old 50 years, 60 years old car, I can find sort of a creative spirit.
Right, yeah.
It inspires for, through the car. Maybe some designer did it. That is one way. And also this kind of beautiful natures.
Right.
Because the shape of the wave. We are always saying the food of line of the Infiniti is we are really inspired by shape of the wave. So that kind of, I think it's anything you see, you can get inspiration, as long as you have a very good sensitivity. That is
everywhere you walk, you're seeing something
every time seeing like a bird or animal or whatever, and I absorb as much of inspiration from many things.
Well, listen, we have time for one more question, and I'm going to take one here from Zachary, and he says, when will the 2012 with the new JX come out? I know it's spring, but do you have an exact month or date? Well, Zachary, it is spring. We're shooting to have the JX in our showrooms in April of next year. But I can tell you this, we'll actually release pricing for the JX along, hopefully, with least price points at the Los Angeles Auto Show in November. So starting with November, you'll actually be able to pre-order the JX, and then we'll start to deliver those cars in spring, probably around April timeframe of next year. So I think, from my perspective, Shiro-san, it's been just a huge honor to have you here. We just don't often have global head of design with us, and I really appreciate you taking some time.
Very nice opportunity talking like this to the audience.
Great.
A very new experience for me.
It is for me as well. It is for me as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you. It's just been a huge honor for us to be here with you today and for spending just a little bit of your Saturday with us. Look for more of these types of presentations in the future with Infiniti Live, and we'll go from there.